Om. 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 Sahana vavatu, Sahana bhunaktu, Saha Vidyam Karavavahai, Te Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadashivasamarambam Sankaracharyamadhyamam Asmadacharyaparyantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Yasam Tado Jayamudirayet. Yesterday we start. You can see my screen, right?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. Mm. Not sure what happened with this thing. Okay. So yesterday we read up to this one, like not moving up and down. Okay. Objects do not exist independently. So we'll start from here. Okay. When a pot is made, before it is baked, there is only clay. Thus, once upon a time, the pot was a clay. When it became a pot, it was clay in the form of pot. Even though it has been fired, it is nothing but clay. All that has happened is that the clay now has an added attribute, guna, the pot form. This added attribute is what is meant by creation. Creative possibilities are there, but there is no such thing as a clay pot without clay. When we look at anything in this world, we always find that it is a form with a name. So, when we look at anything in this world, we always find that it is a form with a name, depending on some other substantive vastu. A particular form, rupa, is called asat. It has the nature of its substantive, but in itself has no bhava. By the time you see an object, it has already changed. It is never the same in the next moment. It is like seeing a film projected on a white screen. It looks as though someone is standing there, but in fact, the frame is continuously changing. Similarly, the frame in one's mind keeps on changing. exactly like the film. This is what makes it possible for us to see motion. Because what you have seen is already gone and you do not see it again in the same form, an object has no real power. In a flowing river, you do not get the same water at the same place. It is over, gone, flowing constantly in the flow of time. Let's see. Um, Analyze. This is same thing. Mm, yeah, 194. Okay. Similarly, any perception we have is conditioned by time, and therefore the nature. So similarly, any perception we have is conditioned by time, and therefore has the nature of being merely an appearance. It is as though there and not really there, because it is always changing. It is as though all the time. All objects in the world are time bound. When you see an object, that object is not seen by you as an independent object. You always see some other thing along with it. When you see a shirt, for example, you also see cloth, and when you see the cloth, you see a particular material. Thus, you find that shirt has no existence apart from its cause, karana, the cloth. Not only can you not create a shirt without cloth, you cannot imagine one either. Cloth, uh, cloth here refers to any material with which the shirt is made. Without cloth, paper, or some other material, it is impossible to make a shirt. Even in your imagination, you can imagine an elephant entering your ear by seeing yourself as very big, but you cannot imagine making a shirt without cloth. No object exists by itself apart from its cause. An object that does not exist independent of something else cannot have the word sat imputed to it. It can only be called asat because sat will be the one upon which the object depends for its bhava. If I remove the cloth, can you wear the shirt? All you will have is the emperor's clothes. There is no such thing as shirt without the material with which it is made. For the word shirt, there is no corresponding object at all. Bhava means it must independently exist. And because the cloth is the bhava, the shirt has no independent substantive status. Nor can you say the cloth with which the shirt is made is Sat, because it too depends upon something else. Then what is the real Sat? That which exists by its own glory and does not depend on anything else for its existence is called Sat or Satya. Just because something is a cause does not mean it is Satya. Causes themselves depend on their causes and therefore are also asat. I think we saw this yesterday. So I'm going to continue with this one. Why do we see the sat in the asat? Why do we see the sat in the asat? If everything is asat, how is it that we see the world as real, as sat? we say the world is. We do not look at it as something that is not. This is because in every perception there are two buddhis. Here, buddhi means knowledge, cognition. One buddhi is with reference to the object, and the other is with reference to its asat buddhi, that is, not buddhi. So, this is not buddhi has to be explained. So, there is one buddhi is knowledge or cognition, the other one is asat buddhi, is not buddhi. The problem is that we take the is not as is and get confused. This confusion leads to sukha and dukkha. When we see a pot, there is a pot buddhi, pot cognition, and we say the pot is. That buddhi, cognition whose object is the pot, undergoes a change similar to the changing frame in a moving film. It is this buddhi that is called asat buddhi. That which does not undergo a change is called sat buddhi. Suppose the pot you are looking at is replaced by another object, a tree. The pot is gone and the tree is there in its place. Previously, we said the pot is, now we say the tree is. If we analyze these two cognition, and we can see that is buddhi never goes. The pot goes because it is asat, and the sat that is always there is now with the tree. When the tree buddhi goes, branch buddhi may be there, and when the branch buddhi is gone, leaf buddhi is there. When the leaf buddhi is gone, chlorophyll buddhi is there. And when the chlorophyll buddhi is gone, particle buddhi is there. When particle buddhi is gone, whatever buddhi that is left will still be there. So what is it that remains? Sat, that is always there. Is always is. Therefore, it is called Sat, that which does not change, whereas the object whose buddhi changes is called Asat. So, whereas the object whose buddhi changes is called Asat. The object is Asat because the buddhi keeps changing. We recognize it differently each time it changes. In every perception, then there are two buddhis, the object buddhi and the is buddhi. When we say blue pot, neelaha, neelaha gataha, both words indicate the same object. The object that is blue is pot, and object that is pot is blue. Similarly, when I say please meet Mr. So and so, the musician, both Mr. So and the musician are one and the same object. When we say Arjunaha, Pandavaha, there is only one person, Arjuna, and he is a Pandava. In all these situations, there is substantive adjective relationship. The word blue is an adjective to the pot is in the expression blue pot. However, this is not so when we say the existent pot or this is a pot. Here it seems as though the easiness in an adjective to the pot. So the easiness is an adjective to the pot. It is not correct. The pot is the adjective to existence. The potness qualifies easiness. The partners qualifies hisness. Here there is sadbuddhi, meaning that the pot exists. So here there is sadbuddhi, meaning that the pot exists, and there is also pot buddhi. There is the object buddhi, which are two different things. To say this is a pot definitely implies isness, since the word is used. There are therefore always two buddhis, sadbuddhi and asadbuddhi, object buddhi. Only asadbuddhi, object buddhi changes, meaning that the existent sadbuddhi is conditioned by an object as its attribute. Is always there when the tree is in the form of a tree. Similarly, is can be in the form of a pot, a person, a nose, a body, or anything. Existence is also in the form of thought. Therefore, if there is no thought, what is there is existence minus thought. Existence minus the body, existence minus the world is existence. That existence, Sat, is always there, not affected by any addition to or subtraction from it. So there is a Sat Buddhi, sorry, Asat Buddhi is in Sat Buddhi. Is that what they read? Why do we see the Sat in the Asat? So that the easiness. You're able to understand this? You want me to read anything or should we go further? Okay, let me continue read this and then we can go back and review this. The East Buddhi always remains. The way in which the Sadbuddhi is conditioned is what undergoes change, whereas the Sadbuddhi itself never changes. So, the way in which the Sadbuddhi is conditioned is what undergoes change, whereas the Sadbuddhi itself never changes. Therefore, Shankara says in his Bhashya that the object of the thought, this is a pot, is Asat, this is a pot, is Asat, because it is always changing. It never remains the same. The Sat Buddhi, on the other hand, is Satya because whatever the Sat is, it does not undergo any change. A doubt being possible here, Shankara clarifies the point in the Bhashya by raising and answering an objection, Purva Paksha. Suppose a pot is gone, destroyed, and the pot buddhi, Gata buddhi, is gone. You say the pot was, and now the pot is no more. The pot being destroyed, the pot buddhi goes, and the pot proves to be asat. But along with the destroyed pot, does not the is buddhi, sat buddhi also go? Shankara's response is that is buddhi never goes. Is always there. We say the pot is destroyed, the destroyed pot is, the pot is no more, etc. because something else is buddhi never goes. Only the conditioned sat buddhi is gone. The sat buddhi, the exist buddhi, is conditioned by a particular name and form, nama rupa, and when the pot is destroyed, that nama rupa is gone. But the sat buddhi is not gone. It is there to join anything. The is buddhi can join the broken pot. The broken pot is, or anything else is. Only asat keeps on changing. The varieties of objects seen by you keep on changing while you remain the same person. That is, existence remains. It never goes away. If this aspect of teaching is not clear, you could conclude that Atma, the Sat Vastu, is zero. The Atma alone is, and everything else is Namarupa, only an addition to the Sat, to that Sat Buddhi, an addition that does not bring about any addition. So, only an addition to that Sat Buddhi, an addition that does not bring about any addition. Just as the pot form does not bring about an addition to the clay, so too the addition of a Nama Rupa to the Sat Buddhi does not bring about any change to it. This is the vision. The Sat Buddhi is always qualified by an attribute, is in the form of a tree, is in the form of a pot, is in the form of something, and that form keeps on changing. That which changes is asat, mithya, whereas sat remains ever the same. And what is that sat? The sat buddhi is existence, consciousness, sat chit. Sat buddhi is a buddhi is existence, consciousness, sat chit. Existence is consciousness. Consciousness, the Sadbuddhi, always joins with something. So the Sadbuddhi, the consciousness, always joins with something in the form of knowledge and reveals. For example, the pot is. When the pot is gone, the tree is. When the tree is gone, something else is. When everything is gone, I am, aham, asmi. Let me see how much is this. There are a lot of thing about this Sat and Asat stuff. Mm. I think we probably can do some Manana on the up to what we read. We've been reading this time and again, and but still there is can't remember all the names and forms in here. Analyzing the Sat and Asat, right? And then why do we see the Sat in the Asat? That's what we read right now. Oh. So what we read about Sat is always there and it's not changing. Whereas the Sat Buddhi is conditioned with the Nama Rupa, that is that which is changing. That becomes that Asat. that constantly changing.
See, that is what creation is. Creation is something that has a name and form. The example initially started off was the clay and the pot.
Mm-hmm.
So if you consider clay as the substantive, the substratum on which the pot is, initially the pot is not there, it is only clay. But once you
Right.
make a pot, the pot comes into form and it has a name and a form called a pot.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
this
and
pot,
then that mind one, that picture is always changing, right? One
correct,
that is not buddhi, that we have the two buddhi that we're talking about.
correct. So
The
the pot was
tree.
initially not there but came into existence and
Yeah,
therefore it can also get destroyed. So that is time bound. Anything that is born has a death. That is one
right.
aspect. The second is that there is these two buddhis, Sat Buddhi and Asat Buddhi.
Buddhi. Mm-hmm.
Sat Buddhi is the is Buddhi that is embedded in every aspect of our creation, when we perceive creation.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the Asat is what keeps changing. So initially you say the pot is. And then when your mind goes on to the tree, you say the tree is. When you take your attention to the branch, you say the branch is. Then the leaf is. And you
Mm-hmm.
go on teasing it out. The chlorophyll is. The chlorophyll, and then you get down to the molecules and atoms. And so what remains is the isness. Chlorophyll is. Molecules or molecule is. Atom is. Energy is, vibration is. So that isness is the Sat Buddhi. That never disappears. That remains constantly there. But what is it that is changing all the time is the Asat Buddhi. The Nama Rupa is what is changing. So initially it was the pot, then it was the tree, then branch, leaf, chlorophyll, etc. Go on. When you extrapolate this to the body, the human body is, when the body dies, the body is cremated, what remains is what? It is the ashes. The ash is the the body disintegrates and goes into the Panchamahabhutas. But the
Mm-hmm.
bhutas are still there. It is the body is disintegrated. The name and form of the body is not there, but that isness continues. It is there in the form of something else. So that isness is what is the unchanging eternal
Sat.
of
Mm.
Sat, upon which the Asat. So the Asat is so totally dependent upon the Sat. It is only conditioned by the Sat is conditioned by the Asat over there. So the
Right.
problem with us is we hold on to the Asat and think that is Sat. That is the
Is that
lumping
why they say it leads to sukha and dukkha? That holding on to the asat?
because it keeps changing. See, the nature of Sat is Ananda. The nature of Asat is to keep changing. And with this changing Asat, you have the pairs of opposites. They're intrinsically embedded in that.
Mm.
Go back to that verse which says Matra Sparshastu Kaunteya, wherein the contact of the sense objects with the sense organs with the sense objects brings about the pairs of opposites. So therefore, when you remain entangled in the asat, that will lead to sukha dukkha. That is why it is recommended, advised that We function in the world, but rooted in the Sat, rooted in the self, centered in the self. All these terms, when we talk of centered, being aware of the inner self, all that is you are anchored in the isness, and you're just looking at the world outside as just the changing nama and rupa. But until and unless the Atma Anatma Viveka becomes firmly established, see, we all know it only as a concept right now. We know, okay, when we are doing the Manana, it's all very nice. We say, oh, yes, this is the Atma is, everything else is Anatma, and everything is changing. It's all Asat Buddhi. But what happens when we actually get into interactions with the world? This film of ignorance, Maya, tends to overpower it. And then we get lost in that confusion, thinking the Asat as Sat. If someone says something unpleasant, we hold on to that saying, thinking that is real, whereas that is only part of the Nama Rupa, part of the creation, which is forever changing. So Shankaracharya, also in his Bhashya, and towards the end, what you read was about considering asat as as zero, because when the pot is gone, the isness is gone. The pot was, you say. But he says, no, that isness continues. The destroyed pot is. So the isness is what ultimately pervades the entire creation. That is the Nitya Vastu. Everybody else can also share. And when we extrapolate this to the verse, what is that? Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara. So the child is, when the youth is born, the child is no longer there, but the youth is. And when the youth becomes the adult, the youth is not there anymore, but the adult is. And then when the adult dies, the body is no longer there, but that isness remains.
So the tree, the last word he said, right, Dr. Brahmana, is in the form of tree, in the form of pot,
Mm.
right? That is Sadbuddhi. He's in the form of something that keeps, that form keeps changing. That which changes is Asat, Mithya, whereas Sat remains ever the same, which means like everything is pervaded by the Brahma or Paramatma, right? So that easiness is there always, even if it's the pot form or the form is it's broken or whatever, it's destroyed, but the clay is still, have that Brahman. Is that what it meant?
Yeah, that is what is meant.
Okay. So anything that exists, is there always. There's no changing that without that something doesn't exist.
Correct.
So if something exists means that that's how we differentiate between the asat and asat part. Yeah, please share. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, here that really plays that Srishti Sthiti Laya part. Everything is gone, then I am there. I am I am Agamasmi.
And it is funny how on this asat we superimpose our expectations
Mm-hmm.
and then
Yeah,
get caught and entangled in them.
exactly.
We expect people around to be the way we want them to be,
Mhm.
isn't it? Not knowing, not that we don't know, but that it's not established. It's not become strong enough for you to draw that distinction that hey, this is all changing. So we keep getting caught in that in the aspect that whatever is changing, we think it is unchanging. We want everything
Mm.
to be permanent, like embedded in rock and stone. But that the fact is, it's like water, it keeps moving, it keeps changing. If we had practiced the concept of live and let live, then our life will be a beautiful song. Whereas we tend to fixate things, and that fixation comes from the root cause of those fixations, expectations is our raga dveshas. I
Mm.
like this person to behave in such a way, and I don't like if the behavior is anything apart from what I expect, then I become averse to it. So when you tease it down, ultimately, I mean, I'm just extrapolating this verse to our human situation and human interactions, because that is where we just tend to get caught time and again. You know, as we are reading and listening to this, it is actually very liberating within.
Very beautiful, very true, Brahmanaji. Very, very nice. And this isness is also not separate, like isness for you, isness for me. It is all one. That is also such
Correct.
aha moment.
Mm. The is what is. Ultimately, that is the only thing which is.
Mm.
That is existence.
Mhm.
That is what is love. That is what is energy. That is what is is vibration. Whatever you name it, that is what is.
So here we can recall that asti bhati priti also, right?
Correct.
Mm.
So 5 aspects, no? Asti, bhati, priti, nama, rupa.
Mm.
So that asti is the isness. Bhati and priti. Priti is that ananda, that, and bhati is that chit swarupa, that consciousness, that shine that comes around. Asti, bhati, priti, and nama rupa. If nama rupa is what is we are holding on to, then we are nicely wedded to Maya. We're like in, Maya is, we got nicely entangled in Maya. Whereas if we slowly kind of withdraw and get this viveka, from this viveka, atma natma viveka, then the hold that Maya has on us will slowly start loosening. I'm just reminded of that beautiful verse we used to play, Aghatita Ghatana Patiyasi Maya. Maybe we should play that one more time today.
Maya Panchakam, right?
Maya Panchakam, yeah.
So, shall I move on to
Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Consciousness between two thoughts. Consciousness between two thoughts. Between two thoughts, everything is gone except consciousness. And although everything does go between two thoughts, consciousness does not require everything to go in order to be. Consciousness is always there. Whatever comes, consciousness is, and if everything goes, consciousness is. There is only one thing, that is Sat, and that is consciousness. It was said that the pot is Mithya, Asat, because the pot buddhi changes. Then it was said that when the pot is destroyed, the Sat buddhi, the pot is buddhi, is also destroyed. Therefore, isn't your Sat buddhi also Asat? No, Shankara replies. Even when the pot is gone and the cloth is there, you see the Sadbuddhi in the cloth. In the cloth. Only the only the attribute has changed. Previously, the Sadbuddhi was conditioned by the pot, whereas now it is conditioned by the cloth. Again, an objection is raised. Even though one pot is gone, we may still have pot buddhi in some other pot. In this other pot, we recognize this is a pot. Since pot buddhi does not change, does this not prove that it is Sat? To this, Shankara said that although pot buddhi may be seen in another pot, it is not seen in the cloth. Only in another pot can you have pot buddhi. In a piece of cloth, the only buddhi you have is cloth buddhi, not pot buddhi. Whereas the the Sat buddhi is always there in the pot, in the cloth, in anything you see, and in anything you say is non-existent. We say the man's horn does not exist. This does not mean there is no Sadbuddhi here. Okay, so we say the man's horn does not exist. This does not mean there is no Sadbuddhi here. When we say the horn is and the man is, it is Sadbuddhi. To say man's horn is wrong, whereas to say man's horn is not is right. This later expression indicates the man's horn is not, which is Sadbuddhi. Therefore, Sadbuddhi does not change in any way. Sadbuddhi, which is Sat of the Atma and ease of the I, is always there, even in deep sleep. That is why we want to experience sleep. If I were not there at all, I would not want to sleep. If I were not there at all, I would not want to sleep. We find, however, that there is a universal interest in sleep because it is an experience and a very welcome one at that. Welcome one at that. Sadbuddhi is also present in the dream. This one is what talked about the two orders of reality. This one, no, consciousness between two thoughts. Okay. So one thought goes, the other thought comes, but still the consciousness is there. The previous thought and then between thoughts, the thought is gone also is there. Hmm. Is any paragraph you want me to repeat here? Dr. Pramana, would you say this objection is raised here that part buddhi, right? One part is gone, we still have a part buddhi. But I'll read this paragraph one more time. Again, an objection is raised. Even though one part is gone, we may still have a part buddhi in some other part. In this other part, we recognize this is a part. Since part buddhi does not change, does this not prove that it is Sat? To this, Shankara said that although part buddhi may be seen in another part, it is not seen in the cloth. Only in another part can you have part buddhi. In a piece of cloth, the only buddhi you have is cloth buddhi, not part buddhi. Whereas the Sat buddhi is always there in the pot, in the cloth, in anything you see, and in anything you say is non existent. Hmm. So, whatever it is, the easiness is uh, that.
So this is the objection is raised for those people who say the pot buddhi is, because although the pot number one that you have said pot is no longer there, pot number two is there. So the pot is sat is what the conclusion is. The pot buddhi never dies. But then Shankara raises the objection and he says the pot buddhi is there in another pot, yes, but that pot buddhi is not there in a cloth buddhi.
Right.
When the object changes, the pot buddhi, the earlier buddhi, is not there.
Gone. Mm-hmm. So that's a thought, the consciousness between the thoughts that Buddhists think.
So the by definition, sat is something that remains irrespective. So, but when this buddhi it keeps changing with the change of the object, that cannot be true, and therefore that is asat.
Mm-hmm. That which is changing, but the in the previous previous paragraph, it mentioned the Sat Buddhi, right? Previously, Sat Buddhi was conditioned by the pot, not conditioned by the cloth. But here it said something about Sat Buddhi. It was said that the pot is Mithya, Asat, because the pot Buddhi changes. Yeah, so we talked about this one before, right?
Yeah.
When the
So
pot is
this is
destroyed.
this is to denounce the argument that the creation is true,
Mm-hmm,
that the creation is Sat. Creation, the whole bundle of creation
mm-hmm,
is Asat. You just need this one argument to then extrapolate it to the whole creation. So it is only a superimposition. It is only mithya. It is as though there, fleeting. It is only
Hariom.
as though. Hmm?
One question I have, is it like, can we relate it to our different lifetimes, that one time one is a pot, other time one is a tree? Can we relate it that way?
Yeah, why not?
So because when the pot is gone, the tree is. When the tree is gone, something else is. So
Correct.
when everything is gone, then I am.
Yeah.
it's more like an object, right? All the objects that you see it come and go, but in the bottom line is all the, even though they are gone, the the underlying sat exists, meaning like for the tree or the pot, the clay, that if you go back again down to the particle level, then it sat exists. Where did the tree come from? It grew as from the plant, and the plant, where did it come from? It came the small seed or whatever, where the seed come from. Then it goes to the whole that everything goes back to that particle energy vibration, and the part then goes to that creation creator. That's only Karana, I think. I mean, Karana, Karya.
Karana Karanaya.
Oh, Karanaya, sorry. Karya, of course, that Sat doesn't do any action. Sorry, that's correct.
The cause of
Karanaya.
the causes
Mm.
is the ultimate.
Karanaya. Mm-hmm.
I've been getting this thing I wanted to share is that in
Mm.
in Mandal Vatika, what we do is we start with a dot, and
Mm.
then from that dot we put another dot. So when there is duality, and
Mm-hmm.
then you draw a line, and then you start drawing a circle, and then from the circle you start drawing. You go on and on and on and on and on.
Right.
So initially there is only one.
One dot, yeah.
The one becomes two when that Maya comes in, and
Mm-hmm.
then you start drawing circle after circle after circle, and then you go on expanding. That
Mm.
becomes the manifest world, the creative world that we can see, that we
Mm-hmm.
perceive. But
Mm.
where is the origin of that? The ultimate origin is in that one single dot, that
Right.
bindu. That bindu holds the whole secret of our existence.
Mm-hmm.
So when everything dissolves, it comes back to the bindu. From the bindu, it appears and it comes back again to the bindu. So that is,
Yes.
huh?
Yesterday I was reading this little bit in Tamil, like Saiva Siddhanta, they call it as. It mentioned that, of course, the creator, the consciousness, creates this. First thing is there's the ego, right? The Arnava, they call in Tamil. Um, that is the just to start with, that was covered by that ignorance, that's how it comes with that mala, they call it as covering. uh, to remove that mala, like he create two other mala, that is this Maya and what is that called? Maya and myth, the world, the whatever all these objects and everything. So it's kind of how do you say that? Uh, like when you try to get the fire right, like you have to hit two rocks or like that, two mala, like I don't know how to say it in in English, where you remove one problem with another problem, like that it created that these kind of things. That's what it mentioned there. Anyway, but what you're saying is like with that, with the bindu, it start going in circle, you mean?
Yeah, no, we draw. We use it
You
basically.
draw it.
We start drawing from that bindu. We
Mm.
draw a circle. And in order to draw a circle, you need a diameter. You cannot draw a circle without a radius. You
Mm.
need that radius, right? So
Right.
you need 2 points, minimum 2 points.
Mm.
That becomes the Dvaita.
Right.
When there is Advaita, there is only one. You only see oneness. That's just the
Mm.
Bindu. But when there is Dvaita, then you start drawing
You're
and
seeing, yeah.
you see the manifest
Mm-hmm.
Jagat. I think we
So,
can close here.
yeah,
So we'll start with consciousness between two thoughts tomorrow. Right?
tomorrow. Okay.
Okay.
Loka samasta sikino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Are you able to play the meditation or shall I play it?
Uh,
You're able to do it. Okay, good.
I hope this works. I trying to see if I can play it.
It is not audible. What you need to do is in that share on the right side, when you share the screen, just go back to stop share, or you just go up to the bar where that says share. There is
Oh, okay.
optimized video for sharing. Do that. Otherwise, the sound will not be heard.
Oh, you can hear it now?
We can hear you, but can't hear Gurudev. You're only sharing the video, you're not sharing the sound. So you need to optimize video sharing. To the bar on top of the bar on the right side, go to that share button. When you click on it, there is a drop chart that comes out. You can click on the optimize video. Not here on the top where you have that green bar, the share bar.
Green bar, yeah.
Yeah, go to that.
Uh-huh.
Click on that share
Top.
option. Share, or I think there is one.
Mm, 1 second. Okay. I thought it's coming. You can't hear
No,
the audio?
no, no, we can't.
Oh, sorry. I don't know why it's not coming.
Yeah, because you will have to optimize the share. Okay, I'm sharing the screen for now. Maybe you can revise that one more time, okay, later.
Are you sharing, Dr. Pramra? No, Dr. Pramra, it's not coming through. Dr. Savita, do you think you can scan it or no?